Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Johnny TCG video. I am so excited to see you here today. Thanks for clicking on this video. Today I've got a really fun video, and that is going to be talking about Blue Yellow Ace. Starter Deck 13 Ace, the ugly duckling, honestly, of those three brothers starter deck leaders. Red Yellow Sabo, never meta, but definitely a strong, decent leader. Black Yellow Luffy, of course, one of the best leaders this game has really ever seen, I'd say. Not necessarily top 1 or 2, but I'd say he's in the top 10. And then we've got Pork SD Ace, a blue yellow leader that's always kind of felt awkward. Now, all these sets, all these years later, honestly, he is feeling pretty good. Not going to be a super meta threat, not going to be a meta contender, but you'd honestly be surprised with just how strong he is. The new playstyle, at least the playstyle I'm running with, is really fun. I think a lot of people are giving him another shot in PRBO2 and OP13, so I think now's a great time to do a video on him. Before we get into the video, I gotta give a shout out to Jerry. When I told Jerry that I was cooking up a list for Blue Yellow Ace for PRBO2, they graciously gave me the premium collection version of this leader. I'm gonna throw it up on screen, a picture of it. It is absolutely nice. Thank you so much, Jerry. I really appreciate it. Now in today's video, we're going to do three things. First, we're going to do a deep deck profile, taking a look at all the cards in the deck. I'll go over why I run them. Then we're going to do a custom leader giveaway. It's been a minute since I did one of these, but I've got a custom leader giveaway for you, so stay tuned for that. And then of course, we're going to take this deck to the sim, see how it does, go over some gameplay, and then talk about it afterwards. If you're new to the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button down below. Editor, roll the deck profile. For those that don't know, Pork SD Ace is a 4-life, 5,000 power blue-yellow leader. He has the ability of Dawn ×2, activate main once per turn. You may look at the top 5 cards of your deck, add up to one cost 5 character to the top of your life face up. Then at the end of your turn, you place all of your face up life cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. Now this is honestly like kind of crazy. It's so annoying, the fact that if you leave a card up there, you have to put it at the bottom of your deck, but otherwise it would just be too strong. Now what the game plan for this deck is to put 5 cost Luffys and Aces at the top of your life, and then cheat them out with the little brother versions, the little baby versions, whatever you want to call them. So starting off, we're not actually going to look at a brother first. We're going to look at Charlotte Pudding. This is just a classic blue card that you're seeing in most blue decks nowadays, especially against red blue Ace, who can have these massive hand sizes. Pudding can be good. For those that don't know, on play, you force your opponent to shuffle all their cards back into their deck and then draw 5 cards. Pretty simple, pretty strong in certain situations. Then kicking off our 5 cost characters that we're using our leader ability on, we have the 5 cost 6,000 power Pork SD Ace from OP07, 1 cave counter. He's a blocker, and then he also has the on play of drawing 2 cards, and then you take 2 cards from your hand and either put them at the top or bottom of your deck. Now I wish if this card gave you card advantage where you were drawing 2, only putting 1 away, that would just be so good. That would be one of my favorite cards in the deck. But going card neutrals, not amazing, but at least it gives you a card cycle to find the cards you may prefer in a certain situation. This is just a solid card, you know? Not the best, not terrible either. Just a good blocker to cheat out. Before I get any further with these, I really should start off talking about the little brother mechanic, because this is what makes the deck work and special. So we have the 2 cost Ace and then the 2 cost Luffy. I'm running 4 of each of these, and they both have the same ability, basically. You may trash this character, then you may reveal the top card of your life. If that matches whatever little brother you have on the field and using their effect, you then get to play that card and then give your leader plus 2,000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn. So the whole shtick with this deck is putting these 5 cost characters at the top of your life, then playing them out using these 2 cost characters, and then making your leader 7,000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn. Not only is that great for offense, it's also great for defense, turning yourself into a 7,000 power leader almost every single turn. Now, there are times where you may whiff on this, where maybe you use leader ability and you don't find a brother, or you don't have a little brother in your hand, so you can't use the ability. And when that happens, especially late game, it feels so bad. There is a Sabo little brother too, but I don't love the yellow Sabo cards as much. I've really just been focusing on the Ace and Luffy, and so far so good. I mean, I'm not going to give up on Sabo, but right now I'm liking this list a lot. Back to the brothers, we have a 5 cost 7,000 power Monkey D Luffy blocker from OP11. This is a very unique card, 5/7 with 1k of counter blocker, but then his ability is that if you have 5 or more cards in your hand, this character cannot attack, which is really strange. Now, while that is a very annoying stipulation, you're not going to have a really big hand size with this leader, at least in my style, because you're constantly cheating bodies out. There's not a ton of card draw with this deck, so that's not really an issue. I've never been in a situation where I really wanted to swing with him but couldn't, so keep that in mind. I'm running 2 copies of the starter deck 22 Porcus the Ace, 5 cost, 6,000 power, 2k counter. He's mostly a 2k counter, but you could hypothetically cheat him out. One thing that's pretty cool is that you can put him to the top of your life with your leader ability, and then get him back with Hiyori or Zeus, or flip him down with Viola to keep him in your life. 4 copies of the 1 cost, 2,000 power Garp Searcher from starter deck 13, 1k of counter. On play, you're looking at the top 5 cards of your deck for a Sabo, Luffy, or Ace. Not a lot to say about it, add it to your hand. For the most part, I'm using this to find the little brother versions, the 2-cost versions. Next up, I have 2 copies of Viola. This is a card that was played a lot in the beginning of this deck, but nowadays isn't really played as much. I think she used to be a 4 of, at least in my previous builds, but right now I'm only running her as a 2 of, just because with some of the new support cards, you maybe not even need that many of her. I like her as a 2 of, but that's definitely a ratio you can work around with. Her ability, besides being a blocker, is that on play, you can either look at all of your opponent's life and then rearrange them, or you can turn all of your life cards face down. So if you put a card at the top of your life using leader ability and don't want to cheat that card out, you can turn it face down and basically just healed yourself. So that's pretty cool. Next up, I have 4 copies of the 2-cost Hiyori from OPO6, 2k counter, very solid. This is mostly going to be used if you need to exchange whatever card is at the top of your life with a card in your hand. I don't play this card out a ton, but when I do, it's definitely important and useful. Mostly going to be a 2k counter for me, but definitely a utility card that does have some value. I feel like this lighting is making me look very pale. I don't like that. How's that? Do I look a little bit better, or am I still pale? I don't know. You can let me know in the comments down below. Next up, I have 4 copies of the OP11 Zeus, an amazing yellow card, 2 cost, 2,000 power, 2k counter, and this ability works so well with this leader. On play, you may take the top or bottom card of your life, add it to your hand, then KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. Now, normally there is a downside to this, of course. You're taking the top card of your life, but with your leader ability allowing you to put a card from your deck to the top of your life, you're doing this and not really impacting your life at all, which is really cool. I mean, a lot of relevant 5-cost characters in the meta, so this is going to be pretty good. Of course, not into the Emu matchup, which has a lot of stipulations about characters being removed from the field, but in other matchups, this is going to be really strong. 2 baby brothers, only running the Ace and Luffy. Not much more I can say about this, just the cards that you're looking for the most, at least for me. I'm mostly mulliganing to get as many of these little brothers in my hand as possible. Next up, I'm running 3 copies of the 5-cost, 6,000 power Rocket Luffy from OPO7. He has the ability of activate main. You may place this character in your trash. Then if you have 2 life cards or less, you may KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less, and then draw a card. Now that does have some utility, but I can't say I'm using him that often. I feel like 4 cost is not as relevant in the current meta than it used to be. He does also has the trigger of KOing up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. Now that is crazy. You'll see in one of the games that felt so good to pull that trigger off. I can't say he's a super strong card, but again, like some of the other cards in this deck, just very decent. And when combining him with the leader synergy of the little brothers and powering up your leader at the same time, it's so much fun. Next up, the best card in this deck, no doubt, the 5-cost, 7,000 power Porcus the Ace from PRBO2. On play, if you have a face-up life card, play up to 1 Sabo, Ace, or Luffy with a cost of 2 from your trash. So basically, you're going to be able to recycle all the little brothers you're playing at the beginning of the game, which makes a world of a difference, folks. It used to be really hard because eventually you're just going to run out of the little brothers, and it's just going to be rough. But now you can bring them back with Porcus the Ace, and you can really pull off some awesome combos. I've got a couple 2-ofs next. We've got 2 copies of the starter deck 13 Porcus the Ace, 5 cost, 7,000 power. The 5/7 is always a very nice stat line, especially with this ace as well. He has the ability of on play, if you have 2 life or less, he gains rush. Now the fact that he's counterless is a little bit of a bummer. I'm only running 2, but at the same time, a 5/7 body, it's tempting to go up to 3, especially with that ability at the end. There are games where sometimes I just need one more swing, and he could be the answer to that. Next up, I have 2 copies of the Punch Luffy, what they call him, starter deck 13, 5 cost, 6,000 power, 1k of counter. He's got the ability of activate main once per turn. This character gains plus 2,000 power until the start of your next turn. Then if you have 1 or more life card, you may draw 1 card and trash the top card of your life. Now that is so-and-so. I don't love the ability, especially in this deck. Maybe I'm just not putting the puzzle pieces together. I'm not seeing the vision, but I don't really find myself using that ability often. Definitely a strong card, though. Of course, we're really just trying to synergize with the little brother, so the more help, the merrier. 5/6, solid body. I think 2 of them's all right now, but I don't know, that could change. I'm running 2 copies of Red Rock in this deck. This deck doesn't really have a great way to deal with big bodies. We're more so a low to the ground, really trying to pressure your opponent. Maybe not quite aggro, but not quite late game either, like a mid-range deck perhaps. We're running 2 copies of Gum Gum Red Rock, which is a 6-cost event activate main. Place up to one of your opponent's characters to the bottom of their deck. Now this is a great way to deal with the 10-cost Whitebeard in the red-blue ace matchup. I mean, that's a tough matchup, don't get me wrong, but just using this to get rid of one of their 10-cost Whitebeards feels amazing. I wouldn't say you need this card, but I can't say I don't appreciate it when I have it, so keep that in mind. Last but not least, we have the Three Brothers Bond, a starter deck 13 event searcher, 1 cost activate main, looking at the top 5 for a Sabo, Ace, or Luffy. This is the literally same thing as Monkey D. Garp, but just in an event form. It has a trigger to activate its main effect, which is pretty cool. Not a lot to say about that, folks. Before we get into the giveaway, I did try a list that focused more around the 10-cost Newgate and cheating that out with the 8-cost event. I even included an Ezo searcher, and I tried to make this one work. I couldn't really make it work. If you've made a build with the 10-cost Newgate that you feel is really strong, let me know in the comments down below, because I'm definitely not done trying to give it a shot. But for now, I gotta put it on the back burner, at least because I feel like this other version of the deck's better, but I don't know, you can tell me. And with that being said, let's get into the giveaway. Today we're going to be giving away a custom blue-yellow ace leader. This is using art from the One Piece Treasure Cruise game. I am not the artist. I am not selling this. This is just a fun personal fan project of mine. All you have to do to enter this giveaway is 1, leave a like, and 2, leave a comment. It's as simple as that. Then if this video gets 30 likes in the first 24 hours, I will randomly choose a US-based commenter and send you this card completely free. That's all you have to do, folks, is 1, leave a like, 2, leave a comment. It's as simple as that. Then if you really like the content, if you want to stay up to date, consider hitting that subscribe button. It makes my day. It makes my heart feel warm, and it means the world to me. Alright, with that being said, editor, roll the gameplay.
Our first game of the day is going to be against a green-purple Lim, a leader from OP09 that is definitely off-meta, but still one of the strongest off-meta leaders in the game, I'd say. This should be an interesting matchup. We are going to be on the even curve, which I do prefer, and I'm going to be a little bit greedy and cheat out the 2-cost Pork SD Ace on my 2-down turn. Now, there are cards that Lim potentially could run to rest my ace and swing into it, or just even KO it. I'm thinking of the 5-cost Edward Newgate, but I'm going to be a little bit risky here and yeah, play out the ace first. We're going to take that 7,000 power swing into our life. We get a baby Luffy, and then they play down the 1-cost Lim and pass it to us. We're going to go straight into our leader ability here. We can put the 5-cost Luffy into the top of our life and then cheat that out with the 2-cost Luffy we just got from our life. That's good news for us. We're going to be able to turn our leader into a 7k base immediately, which is amazing. Not only is this going to be great for us early game, applying pressure, of course, but on defense, I think it's going to be really hard for our opponent to hit us, at least in the early turns. They're going to swing 7,000 here with their leader, and this I'm thinking about giving them a 1k counter. That's 2 Don. They had to invest on their leader, not playing out any other smaller bodies or anything, so that's cool with me. For 3 Don, they'll cheat out the 5-cost Dofi blocker, which is a great card, and then they'll pass it to us. We are going to use our leader ability here. We'll probably end up using Zeus. I'm going to put the 5-cost PRBO2 ace at the top of our life, and then with Zeus, we can use that to pop the Dofi, which is amazing. Getting that off the board before it got a ton of value is just so good. Now I'm debating on how exactly to divvy up my swings. I could have also used the 2-cost ace ability and cheated out the 5-cost ace off of my life, but I think getting rid of the Doflamingo was more important. Let me know if you agree with that in the comments down below. Maybe you disagree. I mean, I would have been able to be a 7k base leader, which would have been amazing, but at the same time, I wouldn't have been able to remove that threat of the Doflamingo. They are going to counter out of that 8,000 power swing into their life, and then I am going to pass it back to them. They're already at 8 Don. They're going to start off with an 8,000 power or a 10,000 power swing into our rested Luffy. They may be bricked and don't have any great plays right now, or they just really want to get this Luffy off the board. I am going to let that go. No way I'm giving them 3 2k counters from my hand. They'll cheat out another Doflamingo, and then they're going to be able to set both of their characters as active. Passing it back to us, we are in a pretty good spot if I say so myself. I'm going to start my turn right away using leader ability. I could play down the 5-cost PRBO2 ace to get a Luffy back from the trash and play that out. Or I could use Zeus and pop their Doflamingo again. So that's what I'm really deciding between. Do I want the 5-cost Luffy that is Rocket Luffy or Punch Luffy? I'm going to go with Rocket Luffy. Play out the ace, bring back a baby Luffy. Play out the Luffy from my life, powering up our leader. Wow, folks, this feels so good. I love this leader. If you haven't given him a try yet, you definitely have to. Now we're going to be able to swing a big 10,000 with our leader into their life. They'll take that, go down to 1 life. It's kind of funny how we have that baby ace sitting on the field this entire time since our first turn. We have not used it yet. We are a 7k base here, which is going to be great for us. 10 Don for them to work with. I wonder if they play the new 10 cost Shanks from OP13. That is a really strong card. Establishing that body would be pretty rough. And they do, right on time, folks. They're able to activate 10 Don. Now, we do have a red rock in hand, so we might have to bottom deck that Shanks next turn. The fact that they just restood 10 Don is crazy, though, especially if they play something off their leader ability. They're going to start divvying up some Don, 3 on Dofi, then 2 on leader. They'll swing 7,000 into our life. If I had a 1k counter, I probably would counter out of that, but I don't. I only have 2ks and I don't want to over counter, so I'll take that. We get the Rocket Luffy trigger, but that doesn't really affect anything right now because the limb has the ability of she'll just rest herself, so not really super helpful. We won't activate that trigger. Now a 9,000 power swing by Dofi, and man, I should have just countered out of that first attack. We are going to counter out of that one though, because I'm afraid of something like a Dracula Mihawk and having them swing again with their Doflamingo, and the Dracula Mihawk does come out. They're going to be able to swing again, 9,000 into 7,000. This time I will take it and go down to 1 life, or I'll counter. I don't know how I feel about that, folks. This is a little bit sketchy this last turn. It was a rough position. That 10 cost Shanks is just so good in this deck, and letting them play with so much Don, just really strong. We top deck another red rock, so maybe we use that and get rid of their Shanks, or maybe we just go all in. They do have a blocker, but we've got a lot of swings. We're going to be able to cheat out a ace using our leader ability, powering up our leader to a 7,000 base. We finally took advantage of the baby ace that we played on turn 1, which is pretty crazy. I'm going to start out by just swinging into their life with our ace. We don't really have another choice. I'm definitely not going to swing into that Shanks. We're going to start off with an 8,000 power swing into their leader, 5,000 power. Here is where I wonder if this is a misplay or they just had biblical levels of greed, frankly. They block with the Dofi and then counter to keep Dofi alive, and so I'm like, wow, they must have a lot of counter in hand or some events, maybe Hell's Judgment. I could try to swing into their Dofi here and just clear their board as much as possible, but I am a little bit nervous about what they have in hand. We don't really have a big hand size, and so I'm thinking maybe we just go for game here. We have that 5 cost Rush Ace in our hand, which could be the card we need. 7 Don to work with. I'm going to give 3 Don, or I think maybe just 2 Don to my Monkey D. Luffy and swing 8,000 into their life. If they have a Dead Man's Game, they're going to have to use that and then give us 1 more card from their hand, so we'll see. 8,000 into 5,000. They're going to use 1 Dead Man's Game to get to 8,000 and then another Dead Man's Game to get to 11,000. And then here it's just a numbers game, 7,000 with our Ace Rush character, and then we'll swing 9,000 with our leader, and that'll get the job done. They would have survived if they kept that counter in their hand. I'm definitely a little annoyed that they kind of threw that game. I guess they weren't thinking about the 5 cost Rush Ace in that situation. It's a bummer. I don't love winning a game when I know I probably should have lost, but it is what it is. This isn't really a real threatening deck that I'm playing with, so I'll take whatever wins I can get. Now we've got a game against Green Jewelry Bonney. I am not feeling super confident about this matchup just because Bonney is such a strong leader. They're 5 life, which I feel like is tough with blue, yellow, ace, just because we play a lot of small bodies and Bonney can get to some big bodies and it makes things awkward for us. We're going to start right away on our first turn using the Event Searcher, and I'm thinking about taking the 5 cost blocker ace that allows you to draw 2, bottom deck 2, or top deck 2. Then I'll pass it to them. You know, we normally prefer to be on the even curve, but it is what it is. They're going to play out a Jewelry Bonney Searcher, do the search this turn with it. We'll have to clear that this next turn. Off the Bonney search, they'll find Kid and Killer from starter deck 24. Not bad, not bad. 3 Don for us to work with here. I guess we just go 1 Don for Garp and then maybe just leave 2 Don up. Obviously not going to play Zeus. They'll let the Bonney character go. Off of Garp, I'm going to take either Pork SD Ace or Monkey D. Luffy. I'll go with the Pork SD Ace, but I feel like I can't go wrong either way. And with our remaining 2 Don, we'll play out the Pork SD Ace. If they don't have any way to rest this, which I don't think they will, that's great news for us. Hopefully next turn we can pull off that combination using leader ability, getting us to a 7,000 power base. 4 Don for them to work with here. We could see Kid and Killer. We'll actually see the new 4 cost Uta from OP13. Very interesting card. They'll swing 6,000 now into our life. This is just going to be a take. We get that 5 cost ace from our life, and that is one of the best cards in the deck, so happy to find that. We're going to do leader ability here. Off of leader ability, we can put the 5-cost ace into our life. We won't get his on play, but we will just establish a 7,000 power body, which is great. And then, of course, turn our leader into a 7k body, which is amazing too. This Uta, I haven't really read it yet, so interesting to learn about its ability. I'm going to swing 7,000 with our leader now, and this might seem like a misplay, but hear me out. The reason I'm swinging 7,000 instead of using the ace ability and becoming a 9,000 power body is because I don't want them to rest my 5-cost ace when I play it out, and then maybe play a carrot next turn to keep it frozen. So I think that was definitely the right play. Now we're going to use the baby ace. We'll play out the Garp Searcher, and we'll be able to find a baby Luffy, which is great too. I'm going to play that out, or is that greedy, folks? I think I might as well play it out, and then next turn I have an option of whether or not to use Monkey D. Luffy, or maybe I even go with the 5-cost Pork SD ace and bring back an ace from my trash. We'll see. They're going to have Cavendish into a Kidding Killer here. Great combination. Restanding Don, doing a search. They find another Jewelry Bonney Searcher, which isn't the best thing for them to find right now. They aren't going to be able to swing into our life because we're 7,000 power base. And now, folks, we're sitting pretty good. We've got a good board cooking up. We're going to start right away with leader ability. Off of our leader ability, I'm going to take the Monkey D. Luffy. We have a Monkey D. Luffy baby on the field, so I'm definitely going to do this. Power up our leader again to a 7,000 power base, which is so epic. I consider using Monkey D. Luffy's ability to pop their Uta, but her on KO effect allows them to cheat out a character, and I don't want to have to deal with that. I'm going to start out with a 9,000 power leader swing, 5 Don still to work with. It is tempting to use Zeus to get rid of that Cavendish. The fact that they're going to be able to get value every single turn with that Cavendish is bad news for me. I'm definitely going to try to clear it off the board next turn, whether I have to swing into it or use the Red Rock, or maybe even Zeus. Zeus is probably the better idea. There, I'll take that 9,000 power swing into their life. Then I'll play out the Monkey D. Luffy blocker, 7,000 power base. They have a carrot, which is going to be very annoying for us. Most of our bodies are under that 7-cost threshold. 7,000 now with Cavendish. They're able to restand too. I'm tempted to take this one. Trashing a Pork as the ace 5-cost doesn't feel amazing, but I guess I should counter out of that one in case they just throw a bunch of down on their leader or their Uta and swing big into our life. Don't want to have to counter out of the next one. Now they're going to swing 7,000 into our frozen ace with Uta. I'm perfectly fine with letting that ace go just because that was going to be frozen by the carrot anyway. I don't know when I would finally get value from it, and so might as well let it go, protect the counter in our hand, and not use our blocker, of course. Then they're going to play down a carrot, do a search. They don't have any Don left to swing with their leader. They don't have any Don up, but the Kidding Killer can give them Don to use that leader ability. We're going to start off right away using our leader ability. I'm thinking we put the Port Guest the Ace 2k in our life, and then maybe use Zeus to pop the Cavendish or the carrot. Let me know who you think is a bigger priority to get rid of. I'm actually not going to go with that play, which is maybe questionable. I'm going to go with the PRBO2 Ace into Baby Luffy play. This is definitely still solid too. I can use leader ability, and I'm establishing a lot of decent sized bodies. I'm trying to figure out what's the correct order to do here. I'm going to use Baby Luffy's ability, power up to a 7,000 power base leader. This is definitely so annoying for them. I'm going to swing 9,000 into their Cavendish. They don't have any blockers on the field, so they're going to have to give up a lot of cards from hand if they want to keep it alive. They're going to use leader ability after trashing the Kidding Killer to rest our Luffy blocker. We still have that other Rocket Luffy we can swing with this turn. They are going to counter out of that swing into their Cavendish. I'm going to swing 2,000 with Garp into their Bonney Searcher, which they let go. Now, I'm really debating between giving 2 down to Luffy and swing 8,000 into Cavendish, or just playing out the Zeus. I do have to take a card from my life, which is a bummer, but I need to get that Cavendish off the board. We're going to swing 6,000 first with the Rocket Luffy into the Cavendish. They give us the 1k counter, and then here comes the Zeus. Playing that over the Garp, I'll take the top of my life, which coincidentally was a 5-cost Luffy that I could cheat out, and I'll get rid of the Cavendish. Getting rid of the carrot wouldn't have been a bad idea either, but I think getting rid of the Cavendish is more important. If they were to drop something like a 10-cost Dofi and then restand down with the Cavendish, that would be absolutely brutal. Maybe next turn I find a way to get rid of the carrot because that card's going to be really annoying in this matchup. They're going to swing 6,000 now with carrot into our rested Rocket Luffy. I'm leaning towards countering out of this. I really don't want to get rid of Rocket Luffy here. I need to keep some bodies on board. I mean, I do have a lot, but between leader ability, between carrot's ability, feels bad letting a body go. I'll let it go, but in hindsight, I don't think it would have been crazy of me to block, or I don't think it would have been crazy for me to counter it with 1k from our hand. Now they're going to do some 6-cost Trafalgar Law shenanigans, bouncing back the carrot to their hand, playing out the Jewelry Bonney blocker. That allows them to do a card cycle. 2 Don left up. They could swing 7,000 power with their leader, but I don't think they will because I imagine they want to keep down up for their leader ability. We're not in a terrible spot, but things are definitely getting a little awkward. Honestly, that does tend to happen with this deck as we get later on into the game. I feel like the combos do start to run out, especially with my style where I'm trying to go as aggressive as possible, playing out the babies ASAP and using leader ability. We will have a 5-cost ace. That is the PRBO2 ace that we can put into the top of our life. We have a 5-cost PRBO2 ace in our hand, which we can use to get a baby ace back onto the field. That's definitely going to be pretty solid. We can't use the PRBO2's ace that we're cheating from our life, their ability on play because we don't have any face-up life cards, but definitely still worth it to establish a 5-cost 7,000 power body. Now we're going to swing right away with our leader 9,000 into the Jewelry Bonney blocker. I feel like I should try to clear their board as much as possible or just tax their hand. They'll let it go, which is good news for us. We have one more swing. This could be with our Rocket Luffy. I'm debating between swinging big or maybe playing down the Viola blocker. I don't think that's crazy either, but I don't want to play it over any of my characters. So I'm just going to swing big with our Rocket Luffy, 9,000 into 5,000. They will take that, 2 life for them, and I'll pass it to them. We have a big discrepancy in hand sizes between the two of us. A 10-cost Dofi here would go absolutely nuts. Yeah, this could be rough, folks. Also, a 8-cost Useless Captain Kid, if they have the 3-cost Tashigi with it, would be bad as well. They are going to play out the carrot that they bounce back to their hand. They are going to be able to freeze our rested 5-cost 7,000 power PRBO2 ace. That's definitely solid. 5 Don left up for them, but they can restand Don with Cavendish. They're going to give a Don to Cavendish, swing 7,000 into our 6,000 power rested Rocket Luffy. I think we should probably let this go. I mean, we'd have to give 2 cards from our hand, and that definitely feels bad. For 5 Don, they're going to have another OP13 blocker law. This is rough for us, folks. They'll bounce a carrot back to their hand, and are they going to cheat out a carrot? Please don't tell me they cheat out another carrot. No, they'll cheat out the Jewelry Bonney, though, and that is very solid. They're going to be able to freeze our Luffy blocker. Yeah, this is not going amazing. I mean, we still have a chance to win, but their board is very threatening. They just keep being able to lock down our bodies between leader ability, between carrot, between the Bonney character. It's a bad feeling, folks. I don't have any young baby brothers in my hand, so I probably won't be able to use leader ability here. Maybe if I play down the 5-cost blocker ace first, I could draw 2 and then maybe find the little kids. That's not a terrible idea, but I think I'll go with maybe a Hiyori or the Viola play. We'll put the 2K ace at the top of our life. Then I'm just going to swing with our ace character into their Cavendish, 7,000 into 6,000. With 5 cards in hand, there's no way they let Cavendish die here, but it's good to get cards out of hand, and I shouldn't go into their life. At least I don't think so. I think I should whittle down their hand size, try to decimate their board as much as possible, and then go for life. Maybe I should be more aggressive, though. They will counter out with the 2K Tashigi there. Now, they couldn't use leader ability that turn, actually, so that is good news for us. We're actually going to be able to do 3 swings, which is absolutely huge. I did not realize that, so mistake on my part for not being more aware. 7,000 into 6,000 again. Please tell me they don't have any 2Ks. That would be great news for us. They will double 1K to get out of that, which is interesting. Now I'll swing 8,000 with my leader, and that is a guaranteed kill because I believe one of the cards in their hand is a carrot with no counter. So happy to get that Cavendish off the board. We're going to play down Viola to flip the top card of our life face down, healing us a turn with that leader ability and Viola combo. Then I'm going to play out the 5-cost ace blocker, draw 2, bottom deck or top deck 2. I always struggle with whether or not I should top deck or bottom deck some cards. I'm going to go with the top deck, though, and put Red Rock and the Searcher event at the top of our deck. But I guess in hindsight, I should have put a Monkey D. Luffy or a Pork SD Ace blocker on the top of our deck so that we could guarantee a leader ability success next turn. But I also wanted to keep some counter in our hand, so that was kind of the debate. 10 Don for them to work with, only 3 cards in hand. They'll start right away with a 5,000 power Uta swing into our leader. I'm going to free block that with our ace. Might as well. If they want to swing into that ace again, well, then it's kind of like I got 2 free blocks out of it, so that's pretty cool. 5,000 into our life with their leader. This I lean towards taking, but I also don't think it would be crazy if I countered either. The fact that they haven't played anything yet is interesting. We know they do have a carrot in their hand to potentially freeze one of our bodies, but a 10 cost Dofi here would be really strong. We are going to counter out of that 5,000 power Bonney swing. Next is a 6,000 power Bonney swing with the character. I will take that, and then here comes the 10 cost Dofi to freeze our board and our leader. Yeah, our leader. That makes the most sense, no doubt. And then they're not going to swing with the Trafalgar Laws. I feel like they could swing with the Trafalgar Laws, at least one of them, just to keep up the pressure. But yeah, that's what they chose to do. I'm going to do the Searcher event and find the baby Monkey D. Luffy with our leader ability. Even though we won't be able to swing with our leader, we probably still will try to pull off the combo if we can. We'll see though, we're going to need a Luffy top deck in order to do the combo, so this will be interesting. Before I do that though, I am going to start swinging into their board. I'll swing into the Jewelry Bonney character, 8,000 into 6,000. They still have the carrot, I believe, so there's no way they can counter out of that. Now it's time for leader ability, giving 2 down to my leader. I find a Monkey D. Luffy blocker to put at the top of my life. That is huge for us. We're going to be able to cheat that bad boy out. I'm going to play down the Monkey D. Luffy. The question is, who do I want to play him over? I'm going to play him over the Ace blocker. Even though he is a blocker, he's only a 6k power base, and I feel like next turn I'm going to have to go for lethal. We're going to be able to power up our leader, even though we can't swing with him, still solid to be a 7,000 power base. That'll help us stay alive. Then I am thinking about just putting it all on Porcas the Ace and swinging big. This is actually dramatic and definitely incorrect because I forgot that they... this is so incorrect, folks. I forgot they had the carrot, and so I swing 10,000, but there's no way. That was just so unnecessary. I'll leave 1 Don up just to kind of be sneaky and psych them out a little bit. If they play like a Hody Jones to rest both of our blockers, maybe they rest a Don card instead of one of our blockers, and that would be huge. They are going to go with the Hody here. They're going to rest both of our blockers. They call my bluff, and now it's going to be interesting to see if they go for lethal. They're going to start off Hody, swing 9,000 into 7,000, our rested Porcas the Ace. I'm kind of debating here. Should I counter out of this and keep as many bodies alive on the board and just go for lethal next turn? That's what I'm going to do. It's kind of crazy, folks, but I think we would survive if they went for my life here. They're going to go for my board, 10,000 with Dofi into Porcas the Ace. I let that one go. Then they're going to clear the Viola, who's rested. Now 7,000 with Uta into our Ace character. I will 2k counter out of that, and then they can't swing with their law blockers. They're just going to leave them up, and then they concede, which felt early, but I did have that one in the bag. I would have either spread my Don out across all 4 characters and gotten the W, or I would have swung a bunch of 7s and then dropped the 5 cost 7,000 power Rush Ace from my hand and then won that way. On to our next game, this time against Purple Luffy. This is going to be an interesting one for sure, just because they're able to cheat out some big bodies really fast, and it's going to be hard to deal with them. But we can apply pressure early. We can become a 7,000 power base, so we can fight back against that. We are going to be going on the odd curve, stealing that away from Purple Luffy. It'll be interesting to see if that was a good choice or not. I usually prefer to be on the even curve, but I think it might be worth it just to get them off their odd curve. 1 down for us to work with, and I'm going to start with the Garp Searcher. We could have done Event Searcher, we could have done Garp Searcher. Doesn't really make too much of a difference. Off the Garp, we find Baby Porcas the Ace, which is great news for us. 3 down here, I'm thinking we go with the 1 cost Event Searcher and just swing 7,000 into their life. Off of the event, I'm going to take the 5 cost Rocket Luffy, putting the Ace to the top of that stack. Hopefully we'll find that again. We don't really need it in the early game, but later on in the game, that can be really good. I decide not to swing for 7,000. Instead, I'll play out the Porcas the Ace from our hand to the field and have that set up for next turn. I think that's definitely the move. They're going to be at their 4 Don turn, but can easily become a 5 Don once they use their leader ability. They're going to double ramp this turn, which is crazy, using Bond Clay and then using leader ability. They're going to swing 5,000 into us now. Feels bad to take a 5k swing, but yeah, I mean, that's what we're going to do. We're going to take the 5,000 power swing here. We get divine luck with the Rocket Luffy trigger, popping that Bond Clay before they can ever swing and copy one of our characters' power. That's huge for us. Then for 2 Don, they're going to play out the Nami Searcher from PRBO2, find a Gum Gum Giant, and pass it back to us. 5 Don for us to work with here. You know the drill, folks. We're going to give 2 Don to our leader, use leader ability. We will find a Porcas Ace to put at the top of our life. We're going to be able to cheat that out. This is a nice 6k blocker as well. Draw 2, bottom deck or top deck 2. In hindsight, maybe I should just put the Rocket Luffy, both Rocket Luffys at the top of our life. Instead, I'm going to bottom deck an Ace and a Luffy. I don't know, maybe that was questionable. I don't know. You can let me know in the comments down below. I'm going to give an extra Don to our leader and then swing 9,000 or 10,000 into their life, which they're definitely going to take. No way they don't take this. Then I'm going to be greedy, folks. I'm going to cheat out a baby Luffy. If they run the 7-cost Sanji that allows them to rest one of our characters, that is bad news because they're going to be able to rest the Luffy and then KO it before we get its value. They're not going to have the 7-cost Sanji, but they're going to have something even worse, the 8-cost Silver's Rayleigh. They're going to rest our blocker ace, which caught me off guard. I assumed they would have rather have rested our baby Luffy, but they'll rest the ace, swing 6,000 into it. I'll let it go. Then they'll swing 9,000 with Rayleigh into our life, which we will take. Going to use leader ability here. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of great answers. I accidentally misplay and I put the Ace at the top of our life and not the Luffy, and oh my god, folks, I am so salty. The good news is that we can cheat out this ace using our 5-cost PRBO2 ace that was in our hand, bringing back a trashed baby ace. I feel like there's a lot of tongue twisters playing this deck, folks, just saying ace and Luffy over and over. So establishing two 5-cost 7,000 bodies is pretty epic, if I say so myself. I'll swing 9,000 into their leader, which they will Gum Gum Giant out of, leaving this Luffy on the board. The baby Luffy is a little bit scary, but I got to do what I got to do. They are going to counter out of that 9,000 power swing, and then I will just pass it back to them. They will start right away with a 7,000 power swing into our life with their leader. 8 Don still up. I've got a feeling it's going to be an 8-cost Katakuri turn. We'll see. 7,000 into 7,000. This I am going to counter out of, no doubt. I'm at 2 life right now, which is very scary, especially since they're playing big bodies. I'll take that 9,000 power swing, and here comes the 8-cost Katakuri. That it's going to be very hard to get around. I'm going to start my turn right away with a Garp Search. Off the Garp Search, I feel like I should probably take the Ace. Baby, I already have a baby Luffy on the field, so I'll take that. I'll give 2 down to my leader to use leader ability here. I do have a Viola, so I might be able to just heal myself, but oh my god, would you look at that, folks? I whiff. I whiff. That is a critical, I mean, it's not an error. There's nothing I could have done about that, but that is a critical moment in this game. Not going to be able to make myself a 7,000 power base is actually terrible for us. I don't know if we are going to be able to survive this crackback. We're going to put as much pressure as we can, though, on them right now. 7,000 into their leader with our 1 ace character. 7,000 into 5,000. They will counter out of this with the Divine Departure, the new Divine Departure. That is purple, of course, from OP13. They'll trash a Zoro from their hand. Now I'm going to swing big with our 1 ace character. I'm going to swing 8,000. This means if they block with Katakuri, at least they'll have to give us a card from hand as well. They won't take the bait, though. They will just take that life. And now, yeah, I'm just going to have to play a 5-cost character from our hand. I guess the Rush Ace is probably our best bet. Or do I need to block her up with a Viola? Either way, this game might be out of reach for me. It's crazy how different things would have been if I maybe found a 5-cost Luffy blocker off of leader ability, and then we're able to make my leader a 7,000 power base. 10,000 with our leader into their leader, again, forcing them to either take or give us a lot of cards from hand. If they want a free block with Katakuri, that's not going to be a free block. They're going to have to counter. So that's good news for us, at least getting as many cards out of hand as possible. They will have the Gum Gum Jet Gatling to counter out of that swing and block with Katakuri. Then I'll play down the Viola, see what they have in their life. It's the PRBO2 Nami Searcher, and then now we just have to pray, but I don't think we're going to be able to get it, especially if they have a Rayleigh or a Nusohachi, then we're definitely doomed. I think there's a chance if maybe their numbers just aren't right, but we'll see. They're going to start out with a 5,000 power swing into our life. This is an easy 1k counter out of. I'm going to counter out with the baby ace, but I think it would have made more sense to counter out with the Luffy. Punch Luffy in our hand. I don't think it matters too much, though, just because we're going to have to use as much counter as possible just to stay alive. We're going to counter out of that Katakuri swing, too. They're going to swing 9,000 with Rayleigh. We will block with Viola there. And, folks, we maybe still have a chance, depending on what they play. Oh, I was not expecting that. They're going to have Time Walk Luffy. That gives them a second turn. Pretty crazy stuff. And unfortunately, I am not going to be able to survive here. If I had a little bit more counter in my hand, or if I was a 7,000 power base, we would be able to. Can you imagine if I had a 2k counter instead of an ace in my hand, and I was able to get out of this 9,000 power leader swing from them? That would be absolutely crazy, folks, and then we'd be able to win. But alas, we're going to lose this game. GG's though. I feel like that one was way quicker than the Bonney matchup. I mean, makes sense. Purple Luffy is such a strong leader, and my opponent played very well. On to the next game. Now we've got a game against Red Blue Ace. This is going to be an interesting one. Red Blue Ace, I mean, definitely so much stronger than Blue Yellow Ace, but this could be interesting. Making ourselves a 7,000 power base against a 6,000 power leader is definitely solid, and maybe we'll get a little lucky. We'll see. Passing it to them, 2 Don for them to work with. They will start out with a starter deck 22 Ezo Searcher, finding the OP13 10 cost Newgate. Oh boy, that is going to be a very big pain for us to deal with later. I'm just going to swing 6,000 into their life and then probably play out a baby card. The question is, do I want to play out baby Luffy or baby Ace? Not sure how much of a difference it makes at this point in the game. I guess I'm leaning towards Luffy, but we'll see. I'll play out Luffy. They'll take that swing. They get to draw one from their life, and then off leader ability, they get to draw another card, which is crazy. 6,000 right away from their leader into our life. This is an easy take for us. We get a baby Ace, which I'm definitely happy to find. Then they're going to play out the 4-cost Marco. Yeah, that's a good turn for them, folks. I'm going to give our leader 2 Don right away. Of course, we're going to use our leader ability here. Looking at the top 5, we find 2 Luffys. That's good. We're going to be able to use our leader ability with our baby Luffy. Make our leader a 7,000 power base. We'll swing 9,000 this turn, or actually 10. It makes more sense to do. And then we'll play out a baby Port-Ghast Ace to have on the field for next turn. 10,000 into their life. The question is, are they going to block with Marco here? I think I'd prefer them blocking with Marco, just so that they don't have any other characters on the board, even though that allows them to draw 2 cards, which is actually insane. Look how many cards they have in their hand, folks. Maybe we'll get lucky and find like a Pudding. That would be pretty solid. Pudding can sometimes be awkward to play timing-wise, but I mean, there's no doubt there's crazy value. Making them go from like 10 or 11 cards in hand to 5. Like, that's just ridiculous. For 1 Don, they're going to start out with the Garp Searcher, such a strong card. They're going to find a Pudding of their own, so now I have to be a little bit careful, but my hand size doesn't typically get that large with this deck. 7,000 into our life. This I will 1k counter out of with the baby Ace. I can bring that back with our PRBO2 Ace, which is good news for us, so that Ace will eventually come back, no doubt. We're going to use leader ability right away. They had another Marco blocker to play, which is annoying. Off of leader ability, we find the 5-cost Ace blocker to play out. Then we'll play out the PRBO2 Ace. We're able to bring back a baby Ace to the field and then use that. So establishing 2 5-cost bodies this turn, always a great time. Off of our 5-cost blocker Ace, we're going to draw 2 bottom deck or top deck 2. I'm thinking we bottom deck a Luffy, maybe 2 Luffys. The Punch Luffy, honestly, don't love him, so I'll bottom deck him. And then bottom decking the PRBO2 Ace, that feels bad, but yeah, I mean, you can roast me in the comments down below if you think that was really bad. But with Ace, we go through our deck, honestly. Like, we're just looking at the top 5 almost every turn, so those cards could come back. They're going to counter out of the 6,000 power Luffy swing into their life, now a 9,000 power leader swing into their life. We do have a decent board being built here. We're a 7k base. I like where we're at. I am definitely nervous for later on in the game, though, when they really start to drop some big bodies. They are going to take the 9,000 power swing into their life. Oh my god, folks, look at that hand. This is absolutely ridiculous. They're going to be at 8 Don here. Please don't have the Whitebeard event. If they have the Whitebeard event, that's kind of bad news. They have the Whitebeard event, and they're actually going to cheat out the 10-cost Tax Beard, which is really interesting. I did not expect that. People are relying on it less and less nowadays, but it's interesting to see they're still playing it. We will definitely Red Rock that next turn, I think, just because we don't really have any good way to deal with that. And then they're going to swing 6,000 with their leader into our rested Rocket Luffy, and I'm just going to let this go. I could counter out of it to keep it alive, but at the same time, I'm not going to swing with it next turn because I don't want to trash cards from my hand. Or maybe I will counter out of it, maybe force them to swing with Marco, or just have it on the board. We could use its ability to pop Marco. Even though they'll be able to draw cards if we pop the Marco, it still might be worth it just to get rid of a blocker and potential threat if they want to swing with it. Back to us, 9 Don. You know we're doing leader ability, folks. Here, do we want to play out a Ace or Luffy? That is the question. I'm going to go with the Ace, and my reasoning is simple. I want to use the baby Ace that's on my board to play out that 5-cost Ace. I don't want to play out the 5-cost PRBO2 Ace for my hand, even though that would be a great play as well. The reason I'm going to do that is because I want to use the Red Rock to get rid of the Whitebeard. I mean, maybe I should keep the Red Rock for the next Whitebeard they play when they inevitably play an OP13 Whitebeard. That is definitely a better card to use a Red Rock on, but maybe I don't want to wait till then. They're going to be able to swing with a 12,000 power body next turn, and that definitely feels bad. I'm going to swing 10,000 now with our leader into their life. They're going to give me a bunch of cards from hand, or they're blocked with Marco and get a bunch more cards in their hand. Then I will red rock the Whitebeard, and now I'm actually sitting pretty good, folks. While they do have a ton of cards in hand, and they're now going to cheat out another Whitebeard for only 8 Don, which is crazy, we've got a solid board, and yeah, I'm not actually too bad of a position. They're going to use that Whitebeard's ability too and get up to 8,000, and I'm like, oh, I am surprised by that. But being an 8,000 power leader, do not sleep on that, folks. That is just absolutely ridiculous. Even if I divvy up my Don and swing with every single character this next turn, I don't know if it's going to be enough. They have a ton of cards in hand. They're going to play out a Garp Searcher. I wonder if they'll leave a Don up for perhaps a Radical Beam if they're running that card. Off the Garp Searcher, they will find the Jozu from OPO2. That is a 2k counter. I do not think I'm going to be able to win next turn, but I can potentially set up a blocker or two and then go for game the next turn. Now, the issue is if they have a Goldie Roger, things get really awkward, folks. That is actually like my biggest fear when playing against red decks in OP13 is that everyone is running Roger basically, and putting them at 0 makes me a little afraid. To be fair, I didn't even put them at 0. They put themselves at 0, so it's not like I'm setting them up perfectly for it. Folks, I have to apologize here. I am going to make a misplay and not click on the ace and accidentally bottom deck it when using leader ability, and that might actually cost me the game. I'm really sorry because I try to bring you the best gameplay possible, and I got to be better about that. I mean, fingers slip from time to time. Sometimes you go on autopilot, but I'm really bummed that I did that, and not only for the sake of the game, but just not bringing you the best content possible. We're going to swing in here first with our Rush Ace and then with our PRBO2 Ace, 8,000s. They are going to just counter out of these. These are like nothing to them. Then I'm going to give a Don to my leader. I'll swing 8,000 again. This is going to be a free block if they want to with the Edward Newgate. We'll see if they do, though. I would prefer if they didn't, of course. I want to get a card out of their hand, but we'll see. We have 5 Don up, and we'll just play the Monkey D. Luffy blocker after this. But oh my god, I am so salty about that misplay with my leader ability. Not selecting that blocker ace is absolutely tragic, and not making ourselves a 7,000 power base is also tragic. I'm really I'm coping right now. I am actually like so disappointed and annoyed at myself. They're going to go with the Marco Yamato play, which is a great play. They're going to be able to establish a blocker and then rush us down. Ooh, this is getting rough for us, folks. 7,000 with their leader into our life. I am going to block and then counter to keep that ace alive just because I think I have to go for lethal next turn. Every turn that goes by with them at 0 life is another turn in which a Roger may be dropped and invalidate our blockers. They're going to swing into the ace blocker again with Yamato, and I'm going to counter out of that too. I think we have to just go for game here. They're no longer an 8,000 power leader. They do have a lot of cards in hand, but we have a lot of swings potentially this turn. I'll start out by giving a Don to our 5-cost Rush Ace and just swing 8,000 into their life, just kind of poking them a bit. I definitely should have used our leader ability first. That is definitely a sequencing mistake on my part. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but it definitely would have helped me gain some knowledge about the turn going forward. So yeah, a little bit of an L on my part. They'll counter out of the 8,000 power swing. Now a 6,000 power swing with Rocket Luffy. If they don't block this with Marco, maybe I should use Luffy's ability and pop the Marco. That's what I'll do. It'll allow them to draw cards, but they were going to be able to draw cards anyway once they blocked with the Marco. Not a lot I can do there, and also it allowed me to draw a card off Luffy's ability. Now it's time for me to use leader ability, and we do get lucky with the blocker ace. I will not misclick this time. I will ensure I get that to the top of my life. I'm going to be able to cheat it out with the 2-cost baby ace. I could also play out the 5-cost PRBO2 ace and establish a body to potentially swing next turn if I can't win this turn, which there's no way I do win this turn. Next, I'm going to do a 9,000 power swing with our ace, 9,000 into 6,000, which of course they will be able to easily counter out of with just 2Ks. Now I will use the 5-cost PRBO2 ace, bring a Portgas D ace baby back to the field, and then I'll be able to boost up our leader. Unfortunately, they will be able to free block this 9,000 power swing with our leader with their Newgate if they so choose. And then with the 5-cost ace ability, I'm going to put a couple cards at the bottom of our deck. I don't think it matters too much. I probably should have kept that 5-cost ace in our hand. That might have been a misplay. Yeah, I think that should have been kept at the top of our deck. Oh my god, folks, that 5-cost ace card always makes me make decisions that I regret. We're going to swing 9,000, which they will free block with the Newgate, but then I'm going to be greedy and swing 7,000 with our Luffy blocker. The reason I did this is just because we have 2 other blockers up, and if they have a Goldie Roger in their hand, the blockers are pointless anyway. So might as well try to get as many cards out of their hand as possible. They will, of course, counter out of that, and then we'll see here. Do they have the 10-cost Roger? Even if they do, I think we still survive anyway. The fact that we're a 7,000 power base leader and have at least a couple cards of counter in our hand, I think that'll be enough. They've got a 7,000 power swing into our PRBO2 ace with their Yamato. I think this is definitely a situation where we should counter out of this. I'll give them the 5-cost ace blocker. I mean, maybe I should have kept that in my hand to maybe play out next turn, but I feel like there's only so much delaying of the game and defensive maneuvers I can take until they just drop the Roger and win eventually. Now they're going to play out another Yamato, give their leader 2 rested down cards between both of those abilities, swing 8,000 into that ace, and I will be able to 2k counter out of that. 7,000 now, and it feels bad to play out the baby ace, but I really think our best chance at winning is just going all in next turn, and I want to keep as many bodies on the board. For their remaining 4 down, they'll cheat out a Marco blocker, and now's it, folks. I think I'm just going to go all in here. I mean, maybe I don't have to, but I'm just so afraid of the Goldie Roger. We'll start out with an 8,000 power swing from our PRBO2 ace, 8,000 into 6,000. They are going to be able to get crazy card draw off this Marco block when they eventually block with it. Unfortunately, nothing I can do about it. They will use leader ability to minus my ace's power by 2,000, then 1k counter out of that. They are running out of cards in hand, which is a good sign, but of course that Marco Diabolical off a leader ability. I do find the Rocket Luffy, which isn't really too valuable at this point. I could play out the 5-cost PRBO2 ace. We'll see though. We're going to swing 8,000 now with our other PRBO2 ace on the field. 8,000 into 6,000. Do they have the counter? I think this would be a good time for them to block with Marco or free block with their Edward Newgate. Blocking with Marco. Oh, they're not going to block with Marco. They are going to counter out of that as well. Decisions. Do I go all in, folks? I think I should. I think it's worth it. We're going to swing 8,000 with our blocker ace. They will block that with Marco. They get to draw 2 cards or 3 cards because of leader ability 2. Now we're going to swing 8,000 with our blocker Luffy. They are going to be able to counter out of that as well. And now I think we just have the numbers, folks. We're going to be able to swing 8,000 with our blocker ace. They'll have to block this with Newgate, and then we get the W, folks. I actually can't believe it. That was a crazy game. That was a tough one. GG's to my opponent, though.
Ladies and gentlemen, those are the games I got for you today. What did you think about them? If you've made it this far in the video, I say this every video, but in today's video especially, since it's a long one, if you've made it this far, shout out to you. You're an absolute real one. Let me know in the comments down below. If you've made it this far, let me know. I want to hear from you. Mad respect to you. I appreciate your viewership. I appreciate the support. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Let me know what other leaders you want to see me play next. I'm all ears. I'm open to playing anything, basically. Almost anything. I'm not playing Blue Nami, but they banned her, so I don't have to play her anymore. But yeah, that's the one deck I never really played. Alright, editor, end this video. I've been talking too much.